So in the previous video, we wrote the code for file upload, where we were updating our database and creating an index. In this video, we'll write the API to process the file. Once we upload the file, we can process the file. So we'll just say maybe process.js. Okay. Function handler. I'll just list down the steps, the different points that we have to code in. I'll comment it here in comment. So first is check for a post call. It has to be a post method, only then we will allow. And then we want to connect to MongoDB. After that, we will query the file by ID. We will actually, in the process, we'll ask the user from the client side. We'll be sending the file ID from the front end. So at the back end over here, we'll catch that ID, and then we'll search in our database by ID, query by file ID. Okay. Next is after this, once we have the file and everything, we will read the PDF file from S3 URL. So we already have the URL which is in the database. Read the pages, the file S3 URL, and iterate through each page. Okay, so this is fine. And once we are iterating through each page, we will get the embeddings for each page. We'll make an API call to OpenAI embedding model, and then we'll get the embeddings for that specific page. And next is we'll create a vector array, an array named vector, and push our vectors in that array. Okay, and then once after we reach this point, the only thing remaining is to initialize the Pinecone and update it with our embeddings. So we will over here, we will initialize Pinecone, and then after initialization, we will connect to the index. So once we are connected to the index, next what we have to do is we have to insert our vector into the Pinecone database, which will be to our Pinecone index, and that we will do using the Pinecone's upsert method. Okay, so once we have inserted embedding, so that's what processing is complete now. So this is fine, but we will be updating our model where we have is processed, default is false. We'll make it true. So we'll say update MongoDB is processed to true. Actually, this field we will be using on the front end to switch between process, or we will allow user to chat or not. Unless the file is processed, we cannot allow the user to chat. And now the last step is return the response. So over here I see everything is we have kind of created everything, like for connection to MongoDB and initialization, creation index, everything is there. The only thing pending is the embeddings part. So let's create one file in the source directory, and we'll name that file as OpenAI services.js. So in here, OpenAI. Okay, over here we'll put all the things related to OpenAI. Configuration 02 new configuration, and this will pass the API key, and it will come from process.env.openai API key, which we have there. Yeah, now we will create the OpenAI object. OpenAI is equal to new OpenAI API, and then we'll pass the configuration. Now the next thing is we need to create two functions. One is get embeddings and one is get completion. So we'll say get embeddings. So we'll be using this function both in the process as well as in the querying. We will pass the text. So here we'll say const response sorry, await OpenAI dot create embedding. Now when we go to create embedding, we have to pass the model and we have to give the input. Now the input is going to be the text, because whatever text we will give, OpenAI will give us the embeddings for that, and we will be using the text embedding EDA 002 text 002 embedding model to get the embeddings. Now once the response is available, we will return response data 0 dot embedding. Once we get the response back, so this is the structure actually, so from here we'll get the embeddings and we'll return it back. Now I will quickly create the get completion method as well, because we will be using it maybe in the next video. So I'll just quickly complete it here, I think, and in this we will basically be passing a prompt, and then over here I'll say completion is equal to await OpenAI dot create completion, and inside this we have to pass the model and we have to pass the prompt. The prompt is what we will get, then max tokens, so maybe we can give maybe 500 or anything, and that is too much, but so it's okay, we'll just give some value. And temperature I'm giving 0 because we want exactly what is there, and the model that we'll use is the DaVinci model, so text DaVinci -00 3. Okay, so our get completion and get embeddings, both the functions are ready. Okay, once again I did not return anything yet, so from here we have to return completion data choices .txt. Fine, so this is our OpenAI services file is ready. We'll go back to the, I'll just close the other files which we don't want now. Okay, OpenAI, yeah, so this is also done, so no need. So first we will check if the method that is being called is a post call. So we'll say if the method is not equal to post, return 400 JSON invalid request or method not allowed, anything we can say. Now inside this we will put everything inside the try catch block. Now in here I'll just put all of this, yeah, so connect to MongoDB, and in here we'll just say await connect DB, so we are trying to connect to the database. Okay, once it is connected you will get the ID, so request dot body, because we'll be sending it, we'll be making a post call, so we'll get from there, and then we'll query our database and we'll see await my file model dot find by ID, and we'll pass the ID. Okay, so over here if there is nothing in the database, I'll just say if nothing in my file, we'll just return response with status 400, or even maybe 400 is fine. We'll say invalid file. So till here everything is good. And one more thing maybe we can put a check is if the file is already processed. So if my file dot is processed, then we don't want to process it again, so we'll say is processed. Okay, so we'll just return res dot status 400 dot JSON file is processed. So this looks fine. Now the next thing is if everything is fine, we have to now go ahead and read the PDF. So we will go through each page and we'll read the page one by one, and we'll create the embeddings for each page, and then we'll save it in our Pinecone vector database. To do that, we'll first create an array with just vector and empty array, and we'll just get the file data. So whatever is my file data, whatever is our file. So we'll just say file data is equal to await fetch, and we'll just pass file URL, which is in our model we just created in previous video, this file URL. Okay, so the file URL. Now the next is if the response is okay. So if my file dot okay, now we will use pdf.js to read through the file. So let pdf doc is equal to await pdf js dot get document. Okay, now the thing is we have to first import pdf.js. So import star as, yeah, this is correct. But because there is slight issue with just importing pdf.js, so we can go to legacy /build /pdf. If it works fine for you with just pdf.js, so it's okay. Otherwise you can go to legacy build and then pdf. Okay, so now we have pdf.js. In the get document we will do await my file data dot array buffer, I promise, to get the pdf doc. Now we can count the number of pages it has, our pdf has. So we can say num pages is equal to pdf doc dot num pages. It will give us the number of pages. Next is we'll iterate through each page. So we'll say for let I equal 0, I less than num pages, and I plus plus. We're iterating through each page. We'll say let page is equal to await pdf doc dot get page. Now because in the pdf doc the pages start from 1, so we'll say I plus 1, and yeah, this is fine. And we'll say let we got the page now, so we'll get the content, the text content of the page. So we'll say await page dot get text content. Now we have the text content, but the text content I think it is all in, it returns an array of objects where the str of each object represents the string, rest is about the string. So what we have to do is we will combine, we will go through each item of the text content array, and we will text content items. So text content has items array. In this we'll go through each item, and then we will join item.str. We will put everything in a string, in an array, and then we will join it. We will join everything together. So like this we'll get a text for that particular page, the whole text of that particular page. Next is we'll get the embeddings for that page. So what we'll do is we'll come here and we'll say const embedding is equal to await get embeddings, the function we just created, and we'll pass the text. So it will make an API call to the OpenAI, and then it will return with the embeddings. Next is once we have the embedding, we will push it to the vectors array. So we have a vector array. We'll push this embedding. We'll create an object and we'll push. Now in that object we can have an ID, a unique ID for this particular embedding. This ID is useful for updating of your vectors or for deletion and everything. This ID is useful in that case. So maybe we can just say the ID is maybe with some page we can give the ID as this. Then the values are the actual value that you want to save, and that will be the embedding that we just got from OpenAI. And then as we discussed, we can attach a metadata with each embedding. So over here we will attach the metadata text, and we can give our own metadata. So over here I'm giving page num is I plus 1. Okay, so this will push for one page, then it will go for another page will keep on pushing in this vector database for and it will keep on getting the embedding, and it will keep on pushing and until all the pages are complete. So once the for loop is done, so next it is time to update the Pinecone database. So what we'll do is we'll initialize first. We'll first initialize Pinecone. We'll initialize, yeah, I will get import Pinecone, and we will import initialize as well. So okay, so next is initialized. The next is we will, that was vector, yeah, vector, fine. Next is we will connect to the index, so we'll say const index is equal to Pinecone dot index, and we'll give the name of the index, and the name of the index is there in our database, MongoDB database. That was the vector index. So with this we will connect to this index. Now the next thing is to insert or upsert the data or the embeddings. So we will say insert or upsert, and over here it's an upsert request, and inside this we'll give the vectors. 1 second, it was supposed to be, where are vectors? Okay, so we'll name it vectors so that we don't have to rewrite. Anyway, so this is saved. This will save our embeddings in the vector database. Next thing is, once it is processed, so we have to save in our database that, yeah, this file is processed. So we'll say my file dot this process, will save it as true, and then we'll say await my file dot save. So this will save, will update our database, and then we will return let's start status, maybe 201.json file process successfully. So this is in case yeah, if the file is okay, if we were able to fetch the file. Otherwise we'll go to the else block and we'll return status. The status will be maybe 500, and JSON message error getting the file. Okay, this is fine, and maybe something similar we can return once we in here, and but over here we can give the e dot message, we can give the proper message. Fine, so our process API is also complete. There's nothing else that we have to do in here. Return the response, I have already returned. Fine, so this is done. Now in the next video we will work on the querying of the PDF API.